Now that all the dust has settled with the NFL schedule release, what are the major Denver Broncos rumors going on amongst circles surrounding Broncos fans? I'm here to answer those questions on today's episode of the Broncos Breakdown presented by Prize Picks. Let's get this out of the way before we get into the content. I go live with content creators all the time. I went live with Mile High Monsters, David Talk Broncos yesterday. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on YouTube. But if you want even more Broncos content outside of YouTube, go follow me on X. My handle is right here, Moose_NFL. I'm constantly putting out stuff surrounding the Broncos. So make sure that if you want a more unfiltered version of Moose, now that I'm filtered anyway, go to X. Give me a quick follow. I'm trying to get up to 1,500 followers right now. All right, first major rumor to discuss here. Where are we, Moose, on Cam Jordan? Is Cam Jordan going to play for the Saints? Is he going to play for the Broncos? Is he going to sign somewhere else? Is he going to play this year? I think the answer to this right now is probably not what you want, but it is we're waiting in the wings. Now, this doesn't mean that we're not going to get him. I do believe that Denver is still very high on his priority list, but this came out just this morning at the time of this recording. Saints Wire put this out, which is one of the official news sources for the Saints. It may not happen before OTAs or minicamp, but the smartest roster decision the Saints could make before training camp would be to bring back Cam Jordan. Now, they're going to write that because they want him to come back to the Saints. I don't think it's happening. That's why they traded for Tyree Wilson. So, seemingly, Cam Jordan is still looking for his next home. Now, I have it on good authority from somebody that I trust, shout out to Boss Man Jay, that is probably not going to be before June 1st. That's all I'm saying. So, could this be, and would this be, a post-June 1st signing? The answer to that would be yes, it would. I would personally want him to sign before that so that he can get ready for minicamp and kind of be acclimated a little bit earlier on, but beggars can't be choosers. But if you remember, just last season, in the offseason, on June 11th, we signed J.K. Dobbins for the first time. So it's not like that awesome players don't just fall into our laps later on in the summer. They do, all the time. So use this as kind of like your vantage point. I wouldn't say it's going to take as long as June 11th, but maybe like June 3rd, June 4th, somewhere in that ballpark. And Cam Jordan makes the most sense right now, right? Replacement for John Franklin Myers, somebody that, in my opinion, is a better pass rusher than John Franklin Myers. I think, actually, from a pure talent perspective, he's a better player than John Franklin Myers. Last year was excellent for him. The only major concern that I've got over Cam Jordan is last year was a contract year. Did he just ball out so he could get his next big payday? Or is that a sign that he's still got a lot of juice left in the tank? I guess time will tell to see what actually is the case. But I wouldn't be pressed at all if the Broncos decided to take the risk or the gamble. There's not a single player right now on the market or on the Broncos that is a better pass rusher than Cam Jordan at that spot. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not talking about Zach Allen. I'm not talking about the guys that are edge rushers. I'm saying for that spot, Tyler Onyedem, Malcolm Roach, Ioma Uwazurike, Savion Jones, none of those guys is a better pass rusher right now than Cam Jordan would be. So he'd be your immediate plug and play over JFM. And I think Mile High Mario said it best, one of my favorite Broncos content creators over on X. I think Cam Jordan makes more sense because he can move more inside and play a little bit more of that JFM role while Onyedem develops. Absolutely. The Broncos acknowledged Onyedem is a future play. He's not a right now play. He needs time to develop. Now, I'm going to continue on with the other rumors because I've got plenty of them coming up here in just a second. But before that, I do have to remind you, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Now, you can copy this lineup in one click with the brand new follow feature. It's one of the many new features that Prize Picks is really cool. But I decided to do this with my producer, JD. We decided to collab on this. Bo Nix more on the 24.5 passing touchdowns. That's a disgrace. He's going to have well more than 30, so you should easily take this. Cortland Sutton is easily going to have more than 775 receiving yards. I'm thinking like 850 to 900, right in that range. And then Jalen Waddle, stop it. Over 1,100 yards immediately. Take the more on all of these. So if you want to copy it or you want to play by yourself, go to PrizePicks, download the app today, and use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. How likely is Von Miller to sign? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that he is. And I'll tell you why. Von does this a lot in the offseason. It's clear he wants to be a Bronco again. There's no doubt about that. I mean, when you go to Instagram and then mock up your Denver Broncos jersey to yourself with a demon bubble in the emoji or whatever that is, the bubble emoji with the demon inside is what I meant to say. It's clear that he wants to come back. He's said it multiple times on multiple occasions. But I don't think the Broncos need Von Miller. So let's go back to Nik Bonitto and what he had to say about Von, because, of course, he's going to say the politically correct thing and say this. Obviously, everybody would love that. Not only the fans, but the players. He is a guy that is loved here in Denver so much. My personal favorite player ever to watch. Just being able to share a locker room with him would be amazing. You love the player. Of course you love the player. I love the player. We all love the player. Von Miller is one of the best Broncos to ever lace him up, but he doesn't fit right now. The Broncos have the deepest edge room in the league. And the other guys add more value because they play special teams. For those of you who don't care about special teams, it is the lost art in the NFL. It's like the mid-range jumper in the NBA. Jonah Elliss is going to flip a little bit more inside to middle linebacker, but that still leaves Dondrea Tillman and Q Robinson to get after the quarterback, because I can promise you this, Von is not taking snaps away from Jonathon Cooper or Nik Bonitto. They're both better than him at this point in their careers. But I'm not saying that Von Miller wouldn't be a welcomed addition, because Broncos fans want him back immediately. I get it. It's a great story. I'd love it too. And he's also been talking about it nonstop. Nonstop. If I can pick, I would love to go back to the Denver Broncos. Listen. If he was back here on a very team-friendly deal, he understood that he was only going to take about 20% of the snaps, and he could still give you relative productivity to what he did last year. I think, okay, I'd be all right with it. But you have to realize where the Broncos are at. The Broncos are trying to win a Super Bowl, right? They recognized the value of all the players in that room immediately. That's why they didn't get rid of him, right? That's why they didn't decide to cut Dondrea Tillman or flip Jonah Elliss earlier. They saw the value of those players, and they said, we like where that room is at. Plus, I got news for you. Sean Payton, George Payton, they don't have any immediate ties to Von Miller. They weren't the ones that drafted him. So it's not like there's this undying loyalty to bring back Von because they feel obligated because of the story arc. At some point, Von Miller will become a Bronco again. I just don't know that it's this year. So for anybody that gets down is like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. We need Von. No, we don't. Did you say that last year? No, you don't. We had back-to-back most sacks in the NFL without Von. So would it be nice to have Von back from a story perspective and a fan perspective? Of course it would be. But do they need him? No, they don't. All right, last one. Whoa. Did you put this in here? Is Moose going to be a dad? Yes, I am. Surprise! Yeah, my wife is pregnant. We're pregnant, I guess is how you actually say it. One of the biggest dreams in my life has always been to be a dad. Ever since, I met my wife and, I decided that she was the person that I wanted to settle down with. And now I finally get to be. I am truly grateful. It is going to be one of the scariest endeavors of my life, but it is also going to be one of the most rewarding that I've ever experienced. So, yes, my wife is pregnant. We are expecting. It's very early on, so very early on. We've got a lot of milestones to cross still, but the due date officially is December 26th. Yes, a Christmas baby, which means there is a possibility that that baby is born on Christmas and during the Broncos game. So if that were to happen, I would miss that game. But we'd have no idea what the gender is yet, so I don't know if it's a boy or girl. We don't find out until about halfway through June, I think. And will they be a Broncos fan? Undoubtedly, 1,000%. They are going to grow up wearing the blue and orange. But for any of you wondering, yes, I will still be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving my job. I might take like 5 or 6 days off, maybe a full week, just to spend time with my wife and the baby. But I will be right back. I'll be here for the playoffs. I'll be here for the Super Bowl if they make it, so don't worry about that. I'd at most miss one game, I think. So very exciting stuff, and excited to share with you guys the great news. So I go live with other creators all the time. I did last night, so make sure that if you want more information and content, make sure that you go follow me over on X. Until next time, Broncos Country, a mile high salute. Be cool.